Well, hello and welcome back to another video. Firstly, I better apologise. I'm sorry in the end, July, it turned into a very busy, hectic month for me. It has been very warm and continues on extremely dry here. It's by far the driest July on record, I believe, or certainly since 1911, I'm led to believe. But I think here it's the driest July I have ever known. Why did I start that silly story all those months ago in March and April about the oak and the ash? And when I saw the oak trees were well out in leaf before the ash, I said it's going to be a dry summer. Well, it certainly has been here up until this point. And today is August the 1st. Well, actually, it's the 2nd. I'm a day behind, but it's the start of August anyway. Amazing to think, it's the 8th month of the year already, and you can start to see subtle changes and already. And it is absolute blowing a gale here today, so my apologies if there's endless wind noise. I'm trying to have my back to the wind and being a relatively sheltered spot as I am, but it's very windy. So yes, I ended up not making many videos in July. For one reason, I thought it'd be nice to take a little bit of a break. I've had to invest in a new computer because, as I'm sure some of you are aware, videos take an awful lot of space up on a computer. Although I don't keep all the videos, I use other outside storage systems to keep, but it's impossible. When you start making videos, you suddenly realise how much space you do need on a hard drive to edit. And my old computer, it wasn't a brand new when I bought it. As you know, I like to recycle things. It was a very good make, and it was quite a high spec computer, but it was 2 or 3 years old when I had it, and it had been refurbed, and it was getting slower and slower, and it was taking an age to edit a video, and it was getting very frustrating. And towards the end, I have one of those little GoPro cameras, which do film in very high resolutions for the size of the cameras, and for some unknown reason my computer just would crash every time I tried to download video from the GoPro. So I've been updating all that side of things, and also I ended up having about 4 gardens to water in August. July, we're into August. And obviously that took a whole host of my daylight hours trying to keep other people's gardens going while they're away or on holiday. I think at one particular week I did actually have 4 gardens plus my own, and these gardens have a lot of container grown things and tubs and plants and tomatoes and such like, and it was a nightmare. And it was in some of those, if you're in the UK, it was in some of those days when we had temperatures of right in the high 30s. In fact, here I have a weather station, and the temperature here I can't think what date it was, but it was one day in July, it was a Tuesday in July, it peaked at 41.5 Celsius. I'm not going to say that's a record for here. I think we have touched that mark before a few years ago. It gets quite warm here, we're quite sheltered when the wind's not blowing. And but anyway, it's on to a new month, and I hope you're all doing well. I hope your garden is coping. If you're in the UK, probably you're lucky if you've been in the west or a little bit further up north, you might have had some rain. We have had no significant rain now for weeks. I was trying to think back with some friends the other evening, and it seems it was round about the Jubilee time in early June when we had quite a nice night's rain then. And that's the last sort of any quantity. We've had 1 or 2 showers, little bits and, you know, pieces of rain, but no quantity at all. So you can imagine, you know, it's incredibly dry here. So I hope you're doing all right. I hope your garden's is growing as best it can, or your, you know, whatever you're growing. And it seems incredible that August is with us. I did touch on the fact that I've got my trusty book with me with some notes, and I did in the July monthly kind of review that I like to do at the start of a month. I did touch on the fact that it was St Swithin's Day in July, and St Swithin's Day was dry, warm and sunny, so the saying goes that it'll stay that way for 40 days and 40 nights, and it seems that is a distinct possibility here, because there is no great, you know, change in the weather on the horizon at the moment. And with this wind, as you can probably hear or see, the trees, it's just making things, you know, exacerbating the problem, making it worse, even drying out what you water or try to water. So as you know, I do like the old kind of monthly mottos, and I haven't got many for August. Perhaps all the old boys years ago were too busy in the fields gathering the harvest in, you know, because years ago most of the harvest around here has been cut and got in. But years ago, you know, August was the real month of the harvest, and so perhaps they were too busy on the land to think about writing mottos or thinking them up. But I've got one here, and it says, "All the tears St Swithin can cry, St Bartholomew's mantle wipes them dry. St Bartholomew brings the cold dew." Now, it is St Bartholomew's Day on August the 24th, and a bit like St Swithin's Day, if St Bartholomew's Day be fair and clear, then hope for a prosperous autumn that year. So we'll try and have a remember and see what the 24th's like. We would all like a prosperous autumn for sure, although with how the world is and the economy is, oh my goodness, that was a huge gust of wind then. One wonders whether it's going to be very prosperous, but I think that's probably reverting, you know, obviously to the days gone by in the harvest, getting the harvest in, which was crucially important in all countryside locations. So much depended on that, and it was driven totally by horse and manpower. And I mean, my great-grandfather worked on a farm with heavy horses all his working life, and it was jolly hard work, a lot of toil and sweat. And you know, when you think what a couple of what he could plough, and he was a fine ploughman with a team of heavy horses, but when you think what he could plough in a day or in a week, you know, probably modern tractor we don't even plough anymore. We've changed agriculture, but if you did want to plough, you could probably do it in about an hour with a modern tractor and a huge great plough on the back. So agriculture has changed in the last 100 years beyond all belief, really, and it's a good thing it has, because it has over the years guaranteed the growing population, cheap food. So anyway, as I say, that's August, and it's incredible that we've reached the 8th month. I did make a video. Last week. I was invited to one of the last orchards in the village to go and pick some apples, very, very early cooking apples. And I have a bucket of windfalls here off the trees. These are very battered, and these apples are a variety called codling apples. They are a cooking apple, and they're one of the first apples that, you know, come to fruition and that you can eat. and they don't keep. You can't keep them probably above a couple of 3 weeks. They go off very quickly. They do cook down. They're not like a Bramley apple. They do cook down to quite a mushy constituency, which I quite like. If you're making an apple pie or making an apple crumble, that's fine, or any sort of dessert. But they're not like, they don't have a crunchy texture more like a Bramley. Even when they're cooked, you know, sometimes Bramleys still have sort of lumpy bits of apple in. These don't. Quite a rare tree now to find them in an orchard, and sadly I took my GoPro camera. This is quite funny, typical me. I took my GoPro camera to film this, and I even went armed with some nice steps, and there was plenty of wasps about in this orchard as well, but wasps don't bother me, and I didn't get stung. And I filmed all this of me rambling on about these trees, and particularly these codling apple trees, and me picking these apples and how to sow it if they're ready, and just to lift them up off the stem and they come off in your hand. And the apples were falling off around me because it's the time of the year and they're dry as well. And of course got home and thought, well, right, I connected the GoPro to the new refurbed computer that I bought, and to my horror I'd got the GoPro on photo setting and not video setting, so all I ended up with was about 600 still images of me picking these apples. So I shall put a few of these images in, but sadly the video didn't, you know, it's one of those. I thought it was quite an interesting video as well, and it was an interesting place to go and visit, and it's not the sort of place you could get access to readily, and I've been invited, and I didn't like to go and ask again because so I had to hit that video on the head. So I will put a few still images of me picking these codling apples, and they are wonderful. They remind me of my childhood because my grandfather had an orchard, and he had quite a few of these trees, and I used to go and stop the school holidays with my grandparents, and I always remember having the first apple tart or apple pie or apple crumble with codling apples, and it was a real treat in late July or early August. So there we go. My plants keep growing well. We will come back. Touch wood, the clematis cuttings still look okay at this moment in time, but I'm not going to guarantee anything. It has been so warm and dry. I've tried to keep them in the shade and not look at them too often, and you know, so we will be coming back having a look at those. I will end this video with a little bit of footage of my annual bedding plants, particularly on my front, which I've been delighted with this year. The dry weather has certainly helped those, and kept the flowers. I mean, obviously the rain does a lot of damage to the flowers, but it's just meant that they've had to be watered, and I keep thinking there will be a hosepipe ban any week. But here we are into August now, and after August, you know, they'll take potluck, and hopefully, you know, perhaps in the autumn it will set in wet anyway. I think at some point it's got to here because it's been so dry. So that's about my lot, and as I say, my apologies again for the lack of videos, and I'm sure we'll put that right. And one doesn't like to come on rambling on about any old thing too often, and as always, I hope, you know, you're doing okay, and I hope your garden is growing all well, and good gardening, and my best wishes, and I'll catch up with you very shortly, hopefully a bit sooner, and until then, bye for now. So I think my summer bedding has really now reached its peak, and it's a bit windy. I hope there's not a lot of wind noise, but yeah, it's really looking absolutely amazing. It seemed to have survived those really hot temperatures on Monday and Tuesday we had. I have an outdoor thermometer on a weather station, and it reached 41.5 here on Tuesday. Obviously everything needed a great deal of water, because this bed here faces south, so gets full sun most of the day. But the white vanilla ice, we zoom in, the white vanilla ice marigolds, and something I've not grown for many years, the blue ageratum, looks really good, and I'm delighted as well with the orange marigolds. They're French marigolds, and there's some yellow ones, and it's all come together really well. And as I say, now I've got the Goldbloom Rudbeckia, they're perennial Rudbeckia at the back there. They are coming out now and making a lovely yellow backdrop. As I say, very out of fashion, this kind of gardening, and very labour intensive, as I've said before. And here we have petunias and antirrhinums, and all sorts really. We've got some geraniums there as well, and some bedding begonias. But it is so colourful to me, and it's just a real splash of summer annual colour. Over in this bed here, I've got one or two nice dahlias. Those the white and the pink one on the end are dahlias that I've grown from seed, and things are just, as I say, really growing well. There's some Rudbeckia, and there's some more dahlias from seed there, and then down the front we've got petunias, marigolds again, geraniums. Walking down this way again, I've got my Bishop dark leaf dahlias, which are doing really well, and there's Bishop Llandaff, the red one there, and one of my favourite all-time dahlias, that is. I think they're just recovering a little bit from the heat in the week, and there's some more. The two dahlias on the end there are grown from seed again, and there's some cosmos right at the back, which just gives it a little bit of protection from the wind. But yeah, I'm delighted of how well and how colourful things have been. It just shows you, that often it's when we get a lot of rain, it does more damage to things like marigolds and petunias, I find. But obviously this has had to be intensely watered, and that's the downside this year of if you've grown annuals, and it's because it's been so dry. And my tubs are doing quite well, although there again they really got scorched up on Tuesday in that intense heat. But I'm pleased, as I say, the osteospermums and the white double Sophinia type petunias, and there's bedding begonias there as well, and lobelia are, they're recovered a little bit, and they all look very, very wilted on Tuesday in that heat, even though I'd watered them a couple of times during the day. So all in all, I'm delighted of how colourful the garden has looked, or is looking.